Thank you everyone for being here with us on this very, very special day. Today, we launched the new version of UXPin. And on top of that, last week, we celebrated our ninth birthday. It's been years of UXPin. And since we launched the very first UXPin product, which was quite different than what we got today, application. So today we are going to talk about what makes a great product and why great products are not just collections of features. Before we'll jump into the world of design tools and the recent changes in UXPin, I wanted to share a couple of observations from the history of product making. And let's start here. The product that we are all familiar with, the original iPhone, launched in 2007. So gosh, that was almost 13 years ago. So quite some time. Original iPhone was a very different product than anything else that was offered on the market at that time. It was different not because it offered more features. In fact, the original iPhone was missing some of the features that were considered pretty much a standard across the industry. Here's a very short list. The original iPhone didn't have 3G connectivity. It was only usable on one carrier network, AT&T. Didn't have an app store. Didn't even have wallpapers. There was one color of on the original iPhone. Didn't have an ability to cut, copy, and paste text for 2 years after the launch. There was no ability to text any images. There was no ability to use turn-by-turn navigation, and it was impossible to play video. So a lot of features were missing from the original iPhone, and yet took market by the storm. And it's not because iPhone was the only smartphone on the market. The main competitor was Nokia N95, the flagship phone from the dominant company delivering smartphones and feature phones at that time. And N95 had majority of the features that iPhone was missing. It could have been used on multiple carrier networks. It had a very easy time with texting images, playing video. All of that was included in this phone. And yet, Nokia lost the battle with Apple and quickly disappeared from the market. So we could say less is more, but this is not the entire truth of product development. It's not just that having less features than competitors is a value on its own. It's not a virtue. There's something more complex underneath that. You have to have the right thing, and it's significantly better than having everything. And this is very close to our hearts at UXPin. This is how we believe product development should work. Focus on the right thing. But gosh, our job would be so easy as designers, as product makers, if that was the only thing that we have to take care of. And unfortunately, it's not. So here's another famous product, Polaroid. Since the 70s and throughout the 80s and 90s, this product was very popular all across the world and offered a very special experience to all the users. Didn't have a lot of advanced features. Didn't even offer a superb quality of photos, but it offered the right experience. And yet, lost on the market in the last, over a decade, maybe 2 decades. It started losing on the market. So what happened? So we could say, Polaroid had everything that we mentioned to be great about product development. Had the right set of features and offered superb experience over competitors. So why it disappeared from the market? Well, because there's another factor in this whole game. You have to have the right feature set for the right user at the right time. And the market is very dynamic for almost every product out there. So it takes constant iterating on the product and constant rethinking of the product idea in order to actually stay relevant over extended period of time. And Polaroid, unfortunately, became irrelevant, taking all the market conditions. First with digital photography, then with all the improvement in quality of cameras in smartphones and digital software, social networks focused on photography. Polaroid just started to disappear. Now it's reappearing in a niche on the market, but it's not going to be able to claim the main spot that it held for such a long time. So it's a constant act of balance for all of us, designers, product makers, everyone involved in the creation of great products. We have to balance the right feature set and our knowledge and understanding of our users. We have to balance the market dynamic, and we have to balance the timing on the market. A very delicate art. But this is what keeps us in our jobs. This is what makes our job so special, so difficult. So let's talk about design tools. So I mentioned that it's been nine years since we launched the original UXPin product. That's a long time in our industry. It's a whole era. 2010, we launched our paper prototyping notepad, the very first iteration of UXPin experience. And 2011, we launched our collaborative, real-time prototyping experience. What those two have in common is the focus on our mission to merge design and engineering into one process, and to really help engineers and designers work together. Two different experiences, the very same mission. When we started working on design tools all those years ago, this is how the market looked like. It was pretty much a desert. There was very little action there. And yes, there was Photoshop and everything that Adobe continues to make to this day. And it's definitely a massive business. And there were some smaller businesses here and there, Axure, Balsamiq, OmniGraffle. But none of them were booming businesses. Moving forward a couple of years, this desert changed completely. And it looks roughly like that today. There's Las Vegas right in the middle of it. Everything is attractive, everything is new, there's a new experience popping out every day almost. And it's exciting for all of us, people working on this market, as well as designers. We get better tools than ever. That's fantastic. And we get a lot of features. God, there's almost like every day, there's a new exciting feature. There's a new thing calling our attention on this market. And it's easy to be overwhelmed with just the sheer amount of updates. But there's something all of them have in common. They're the same features. One company launches one feature today, and it's going to be copied tomorrow, in 2 weeks, 2 months. There's a sense of unification going across the industry. And it is tiring. I found this comment underneath a recent update coming from Sketch, but it really could be applied to anybody in the design tooling industry. And I thought that it's fascinating because it represents the frustration of the copycat environment that is very prevalent in the design tooling market. This user has enough of it. It's another change in that he uses every day, and this change was disruptive. And it's just a copy from another design tool. It's a long handle. It's overwhelming for users. And hey, I'm not saying that we're not guilty. We are. We are guilty of frequent product updates. We are guilty of overwhelming the market with the sheer amount of new things out there. And sometimes we are proactive and we are bringing amazing innovation to the market. Sometimes we are catching up with the market. It's always the balance of those two things. In the past 12 months, we launched over 20 big new features. And we're not talking about improvements that are launched daily. We're talking about big things. Plenty of them were unmatched and continue to be unmatched on the market. Some of them are purely reactive. So if you think about 20 product updates, over 20 product updates in 12 months, that comes up to about one update every 2 weeks. That's a lot of changes. We introduced things that I'm very proud of. Things like variables and conditional interactions, accessibility features, API requests, which lets you connect prototyping experience to external devices, such as your smart lamp or your car, smart grid, video and sound components. Lots and lots of things became part of the UXPin experience. And of course, we did this to deliver the value to our users, but also to just win the edge on this competitive market. And the market is changing constantly. The market is changing in a very interesting way. The cycle of dominance among all the design tools is getting shorter and shorter. We lived through roughly 30 years of an absolute dominance of Photoshop. Photoshop was the core experience for all people working on design for nearly 30 years. And then, all of a sudden, it got replaced by Sketch. Sketch, which was just offering something different, something better, something more focused and narrow. And it only lasted 6 years for Sketch to be the most exciting tool on the market. And then it got replaced by Figma. It's been roughly 2 years, maybe a little bit less than that for Figma. And it's another iteration of the same idea of a tool with added real-time collaboration and a couple of features here and there, but that's pretty much it. And we're already hearing about the next tool. Maybe it's going to be XD, maybe there's going to be something completely different. But there's another one just around the corner. And you can see where this trend is going. It's going straight to zero. I don't think we can even imagine another tool is going to lead the market for 30 years in this very paradigm. But here's the thing. The reason all those tools, their dominant position on the market is going to zero is because they're just bringing new stuff built on top of the old idea to the market. They're not building fundamentally different worlds of design tools that can solve some of the biggest problems in the industry. And that brings me to the idea that I'm talking a lot about, which is this conflict between two paradigms in design tooling. Photoshop, Sketch, Figma, XD, InVision Studio, whatever it is, all of them belong to the same paradigm of design tooling, image-based design. All those tools produced as an output raster or vector graphic. But there's a new paradigm in town, paradigm that rethought everything that we knew about design tooling. So while image-based design tools are bringing fairly static set of design assets to the market, images, something which is completely devoid of the relationship with code. Code-based design tools are bringing dynamic, interactive environment, which is in a close relation to the actual production code. And there are different approaches to this problem, but all of them have one thing in common. They are focused on uniting design and engineering, just as UXPin is. So I believe that we are going to see a couple of changes more on the market, but the dominance of image-based design tools is about to end. It's coming up. And I think the only thing that's going to break this cycle is a dominance of a code-based design tool and a change in paradigm. This is unavoidable. But here's the thing, perhaps the most important thing. The best experience will win. And nobody is going to give code-based design tools an easy time if they're not going to offer better experience than all the image-based design tools combined. So this is on us. This is on all the tool makers in this new paradigm. We have to be better. We have to offer the right experience for our users. So with that thought, back in late July, early August, at UXPin, we introduced a complete feature freeze, project freeze. We stopped all our work on features, and we decided to redirect the entire company towards this battle for the best experience for designers and product makers out there. And we called it UXPin 2.0 because we reconsidered everything that we knew about software development. We changed the direction. It was a bold move and a difficult move for a small organization such as UXPin. We firmly believe that this is the right way to build software, by focusing on users instead of focusing on competitors. So a couple of months later, we introduced over 200 fixes and enhancements to UXPin. things that are absolutely key to the overall experience. But those things are not necessarily the most shiny features out there. We are living in Las Vegas and we are going towards something completely different. Instead of all the glitter of new feature launches, we decided to focus on the actual workflow improvements. So let me show a couple of my favorite examples. We cannot go through 200 fixes one by one because that would take us a while. But I'm going to show you some of my some of the aspects of the new experience I'm most impressed about. Okay, here's the first one. New layers. We completely re-architectured our layers experience. There's a set of functionalities, but most importantly, new layers are improving performance. UXPin became 20 times faster. And it's not only the scrolling behavior and how layers panel behaves even when there's a lot of layers on the canvas. New layers panel actually made the entire UXPin faster. Rendering of elements, selection of elements. It's a kind of speed improvement and performance improvement that you can literally feel every second of your experience with UXPin. And for code-based design tools, that's a huge step forward because we are working with the browser rendering engine, which by its nature is slower than working directly with vector shapes. But we are reaching the top performance within our paradigm. And this is amazing. It feels just right. And I think performance is just such an important aspect of the experience of users. So not only you get the super fast experience, but you get things like marking your layers with colors, filtering your layers. All of that was fairly easy to implement once we re-architectured our layers panel. So those are our new layers. But we didn't stop there. We also completely reimagined our Zoom experience. And again, for code-based design tools, creating fast and precise Zoom experience is rather difficult because we are operating with browser rendering engine. But we managed to achieve results that were only known in the vector world. And we are still working with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you get this pixel grid, which lets you operate all the elements on the canvas with superb precision. You also get a super fast performance, and you can zoom in whenever your cursor is. It's a very dynamic Zoom experience. We offer everything that you would expect from a top-of-the-class design tools, even in the image design tools world. We also changed our approach to quicker tools, and we started to add tooling around building vector shapes within the DOM structure. So now you can create a polygon or a triangle or really do anything that you can do in an image-based design tool, but you're staying in the code environment. We improved our guides. Those little things matter so much. And now not only you can design with precision, but also you can manage your guides in a very comfortable way. You can delete all of them at once. You can remove only horizontal and vertical guides. This is just a faster workflow in a design tool. And UXPin 2.0 is all about those tiny, tiny details. We completely changed the way you can add multiple images at once, and this is a very cool experience. You can just select a bunch of images, and then you can draw them on screen. Because those are affected by CSS, just like in your production code, you actually get all the CSS features for images. So it works amazingly. And finally, we built a super fast sitemap. In UXPin, you can create pages because it reflects the actual development and environment. And we applied some of our new findings from the layers panel, and we applied all of them to the sitemap experience. So now this sitemap is just superb when it comes to its performance. And you can nest all the pages, and everything is going to work really, really fast. And pages are going to load faster too, and that was an important part of this whole re-architecture of our sitemap. And we are just starting. So I have some cool announcements on top of UXPin 2.0. So you might be thinking, like, is that it? 200 enhancements is a lot of what is coming up, right? So I have some new things for you that I want to announce today. Now we are working on the color picker, rebuilt from scratch for performance and additional feature set. This is going to be the best color picker in design tools. We're going to bring that to you very, very soon. And if you've ever thought that, well, code-based design tools are missing this bird's-eye view of the entire design work, this is coming as well very soon. It's going to be possible to view your project from this 1,000 feet perspective. And you can see all the pages right there and click into them and get back to your design work. So we are serious when we are talking about the change of paradigm, but also the need for code-based design tools to be better than any image-based design tool out there. Because with that, we can break the cycle of another iteration over the old paradigm, which is not serving our purposes, and we can bring the quality of design tooling to the market. So this is UXPin 2.0, and some exciting stuff that is coming up to UXPin very soon. Today you can celebrate our launch with us on Product Hunt. There's already an amazing discussion about UXPin out there. So you can just get to Product Hunt, and we are near the top for all the products, so you can just click in, and we are easy to find, and then you can participate in the discussion and see what our customers are saying about UXPin and how important UXPin is in their workflow. With that, I want to give it back to Kasia, and I'm looking forward to hear your questions.
Thank you very much, Marcin. We have a couple of questions, but we have really limited time right now. So just a few. First would be, I would like to know, how do you predict which features you might want to carry on with? I know there is no short way, but is there some way to at least move in right direction for future?
Yeah, this is a great question. So we are all about triangulation of different sources of information. So we are making direct analysis of the customer feedback. So one source of information is customer success emails. Another one is our NPS survey. Another one is our community. And then, of course, research and data analysis. So without that, it's very hard to understand what should be the next thing in UXPin experience. And relying just on one source can introduce a very significant bias to the process. So we are taking information from multiple sources, and then we are seeing patterns there. And those patterns are directing our future product releases.
Okay, thank you, Marcin, very much. We've got a second question, which I think I know what your answer is going to be, but let's check. How do you balance business and user needs in order to stay ahead of the competitors?
I mean, especially in our market, those two are strongly correlated. There's no way to build a business on the market of design tooling without actually putting the user and user needs first. The market has changed significantly, not only when it comes to design tooling, but SaaS enterprise tooling in general. Today we are selling from the bottom to the top. We have to get support of individual users in order to sell to the entire company. And this is fantastic. This is a great change because it gives power back to users. But it also forces this focus on user experience. There's no way to just push a product which is bad throughout the organization and get the internal support that everyone needs. And I love it. I think this is fantastic. So, on our market, and I think across the enterprise spectrum, it's going to be one market after another. User needs are not different than business opportunities. They're the very same thing.
Thank you very much, Marcin.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us at Virtual Summit 2019.